So if you're looking for a video to help break down everything that happened yesterday with the tsunami that happened when Texas launched a lawsuit against 4 states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, and the ramifications from that, and other states coming on board, then you've come to the right spot. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the craziness and what it means and why this Texas lawsuit is so important in getting President Trump back into the White House. And we're going to start right now. Hi, my name is Kyle, and this is the Conservative Take, where we take culture, TV, movie, news, and politics and filter to you the right way. If this is your first time here, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. And also, if you want to join this channel, please click that join button to find out how to do just that. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about that Texas lawsuit. The video behind me at our website, if you want to go there, it's theconservativetake.com. We update our videos there, so you can go there directly to see that. But there we talked about what that all meant in terms of the Pennsylvania denying suit, which had to do with the injunctive relief and all that. But we didn't really get into the Texas lawsuit and what implications that has for this whole thing. And I'm going to try and do that. But just so you know, yesterday, just to give some background, right now in America, we have just about every single state picking a side. Okay, so to break everything down, what happened was essentially this: is that Texas decided to file a suit against the 4 states in question here, which would be Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Okay, those 4 states, they're claiming they violated their constitution and therefore disenfranchised their own people because they did it the right way. Texas is claiming, look, we did everything the right way, you guys didn't, and therefore you are making our votes invalid because our votes are not treated the same as their votes because we followed the law, you guys didn't. So what ended up happening in Pennsylvania, for example, Pennsylvania's Supreme Court, who has become ultra liberal and leftist, decided to dismiss the case. And what ended up happening was with that, the majority leader, and this is, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. So the Supreme Court told these 4 states, we want our response to this Texas lawsuit by 3 p.m. yesterday, which would be the 10th of December. Give us a response for that. Well, around 3 o'clock, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court and their 4 radical leftists basically dismissed it, saying that it's frivolous, it has no standing, it's crazy that we have had the most pristine, perfect election in the history of mankind. What are you guys talking about? So that was their response going back to the Supreme Court. Shortly after that, House Majority Leader Brian Cutler, we'll talk about him a little bit later, said basically what he did was he basically held a hearing, which basically said that he's going to do an amicus curiae brief. And what that simply means is, it means that we're going to join on to the lawsuits. We're Pennsylvania, by the way, which is also against Pennsylvania. That Pennsylvania is going to join the lawsuit in the friendly manner, not the intervening manner. See, amicus curiae, or the amicus brief, simply means friends of the court. So they're going to help in an unofficial capacity, but they're totally on board. And that right there is an insane implication if you really sit back and think about it. That you have a state who is being sued by another state. That particular representatives of that state are going to join on to the plaintiff's suit against themselves, which is crazy to think about, but also shows the severity of what's going on. And like I said before, it looks like every single state is picking a side. Here in the Gateway Pundit, they kind of gave a timeline here. The Texas case against Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia has exploded. Now nearly the entire country is picking a side. So the President Trump campaign joined the suit by intervening. They intervened by basically coming on board as a plaintiff. That's the difference between intervening on the suit or amicus brief, which is, again, you're not in official capacity. You're just saying we're going to be supportive of the suit and help in any way that we can. So President Trump filed a motion to join Texas Supreme Court lawsuit against Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Later on, we had 18 states come on board, either in that capacity, amicus brief capacity, a friend of the court. And then Arizona came on as the 18th state to back Texas in a lawsuit against Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, over a fraudulent election. It says Arizona on Wednesday joined 18 other states to back Texas in a lawsuit against Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Wisconsin over their fraudulent elections. The list now has grown to 18 states. It looks like Missouri, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, and West Virginia. And so again, so you're having these states do this, but you're also now having Democrat states doing the opposite. So in some ways, in the true way, we are seeing this country involved in a civil war of the legal nature, And it's totally unprecedented. And we talked about this on this channel before about how this could happen. We're seeing it right now before our eyes. Later on that day, we saw that 106 House Republicans signed a brief backing the Texas Supreme Court lawsuit against Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and Wisconsin. So now we have U.S. House of Representatives, Republicans, signing on as well, backing the suit. And then later on, we mentioned this before, that the Pennsylvania House joined the suit. Again, an amicus brief standpoint also did that as well. And like I said before, now blue states and a couple of territories have gotten involved and have joined Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and Wisconsin. And they are fine with massive corruption as long as they have access to power. So that's what they're saying here. That is dismissive. It doesn't involve any of the case, the material supporting the case. They totally ignore the 4-3 decision of the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, which basically ignored Justice Alito's Act 77, which basically said, don't do that. You can't change the date of the election. Ignores all that stuff. It just goes into the fact, well, this is just a frivolous thing. It's no standing. And so we're backing it. It has nothing to do with the merits of the case. And so that's essentially where we are right now. We are in an all-out, full-blown civil war in this country, and it's absolutely incredible. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Oh, by the way, Arizona is also following their own committee hearings today. Arizona is actually having a subpoena power committee meeting, which says that we're going to call witnesses, they're going to be under oath, and they're going to be under the penalty of perjury. And so there goes any of these hearings that the Trump campaign was putting forth, the legal team was putting forth to help put pressure on the state legislators to have the evidence, to have the backing that they need to call a special assembly to have a resolution brought up saying that we're going to elect our own electors on the basis that this election was fraudulent. That is also important to understand because there's something called a plenary authority, which is what the Constitution gives the state legislators in Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2, which basically says, no, it just says that the state legislators have the authority to elect electors, to appoint electors. In other words, the state legislators are the ones who select the Electoral College, not state senators, not congressmen, not Supreme Courts within their state, not governors, not bureaucrats. It's strictly the plenary authority of the state legislators to appoint electors for the President of the United States. And that is what those hearings are for. The one in Arizona right now is simply to say, we're going to call hearings and we're going to put people to the oath, and we will potentially hold them accountable legally if they don't tell the truth. That's going on in Arizona as well. The Georgia suitcase case is being gaslighted. You know, the case where they were told the workers to leave in the middle of the night, and then when they left, they thought they left, they rolled out suitcases full of ballots on the tables and started counting them, running them through machines. Well, that is being gaslit by the media. And so all this stuff is just being ignored. They're trying to push this stuff through, and it's really, really crazy. And so the key thing to understand is this, is that there's an important thing to understand that all this process is about getting the state legislators the political backing, the legal backing, the wherewithal, because some of these people like Brian Cutler, who's the Speaker of the House of Pennsylvania, for all practical purposes, has been considered a rhino who hasn't been stepping up. The patriot in Pennsylvania, Mr. Mastriano, has been pressuring him and he's been leading the charge. And it seems that he's gotten him to step up by them filing that particular amicus brief to the Texas lawsuit. Seems to be a huge step in the right direction. In fact, if not an historical step in the right direction. So what if they don't do it though? What if the state legislators don't call special elections for appointing their own electors? Well, that's what the Texas brief is all about. The Texas lawsuit is about getting the Supreme Court to force the states to call their own electors. They can do one of two things. They can appoint their own electors, which they would do in Trump's favor because they are majority held by Trump. There's actually 31 states that are held by Republicans versus 19 versus for Biden. Or they could not send any electors to the Electoral College in DC on the 14th or whenever that date will be. I think 14th is still not a hard date because the only date that's in the Constitution is January 20th. So, but other than that, when they do decide to send electors, they can send nobody. And in doing so, nobody would get to 270, and then that would go to a special election in the House where every single state gets one vote. The first one to get to 26 wins the presidency, and with President Trump having, again, 31 red states, he would be reelected in a landslide in that capacity. So that is why the Texas lawsuit is so important, and it's helped to force that to happen. But those other building moments that happened before with the hearings were all working together to get this to come to this one special moment. And that's why this one lawsuit is so very important. So with that, I hope you guys liked the video. If you guys want, again, check out our Discord server, that'd be awesome. And we'll check you guys out next time.